Hi friends, welcome back. Naji here. We are continuing a discussion on n8n and in this video we'll be discussing on MCP servers. And we will see how can we create a MCP server using n8n and we will try to connect it with n8n client. Also like we will try to connect it with the FastAPI and also with the Streamlit application. So this is the agenda of our this tutorial. And we are expecting like you should be aware of basic n8n workflows, like how to create different nodes and how to connect to a Gmail or any other tools. Okay, so we will not be discussing those basic things in this video because I have done similar videos, the connection to Gmail and connecting to different tools. All these things are discussed in my previous videos. So if you are not aware of this, please have a look on my previous video. Okay, so let's start our project. So here, so this is my n8n UI, and here I'm going to click on the create workflow. Okay, so first of all we need to have a trigger, right? For that, let me search here. Since we are working on the MCP, I can start with the MCP server trigger. Okay, and here we can see this is the test URL and this is our production URL, and I'm making the authentication as none. Okay, and this is the path they have mentioned. Okay, so let's have this. Now we are going to add couple of tools with this MCP server. Okay, so one tool that we are going to add, that is the calculator. Let me add it. Okay, so this is the calculator tool that we are going to add. Here we can see calculator. Okay, I'm just connecting the calculator here. The next tool that I am going to add, the Gmail tool. Okay, so this is Gmail tool that I'm going to add. Here I'm connecting to my Gmail account 3, and here when we come to here, 2 can be connected automatically. This AI will decide that to whom this need to be sent, and subject also will be decided by our AI model, and messages also will be decided by our AI model. Okay, so currently we are only keeping the two tools. So we have a MCP server is there, and we will have a two tools in that. Like one is the calculator tool and other is the email sending tool. Okay, and to make it available to other clients, what we need to do, we need to make it active. So let me make it active. Okay, so let's set this. Okay, so now our MCP server is running. Okay, so maybe I can change this into MCP tutorial. Okay, I'm going to change this into MCP to name into the MCP tutorial. Okay, so next is we are going to create another workflow. Okay, so here we will be creating a chat trigger. So let me have a chat trigger. This is my chat trigger. Okay, then in the chat trigger I can select a AI agent. Let's make it by default. Here we will be selecting the OpenAI model. OpenAI model Gemini 4.1 is fine, and this is my account details. Okay. Now in the tool we can search for MCP tool. Here I can search for MCP tool, and here we can see a MCP client tool is available. So let's connect this. Here two things. Okay, here we need to pass the endpoint. Okay, so from where we will get the endpoint? For that, let me come back here, save it. Let's go back to the overview. Here we can see, take the MCP tutorial, click on the MCP trigger. Here we can see the test URL and the product URL. So let's copy the product URL, go back to our workflow. Okay, let's click on MCP client, paste it here. Okay, so now we have MCP client is ready, right? Let's save it. Okay, so this is very simple, right? So I have the chat is chat trigger is there, then we have the AI agent, and instead of the tools, instead of normal tools, we have selected the MCP client. Now let's start a chat, right? Type like hi. So the execution is in progress. How can I assist you today? Okay, what I'm going to say is that, okay, add 4 plus 5. I can pass this. Here the execution is progress, and I'm getting an answer like 4 plus 5 is 9, right? Okay, and we'll see how this okay, let me save this. Okay, so we can go and check our MCP server here, and let's click on the execution. Okay, so in the execution we can see that it is executed, and it's executed the calculator tool. Okay, we can see it's executed the calculator tool. Now we can go back to our workflow, the chat workflow. Here I'm going to say that, okay, send an email to najiaboo.train@gmail.com saying that I am on leave today. Okay, so this execution is progress. Okay, so MCP tool is executing. Okay, so it says I have sent an email to naji@gmail.com informing that you have on leave today. If you need any further assistance, please let me know. Okay, so this is also successfully sent the details. I'm not going to show that email, but this is sent successfully. Okay, so in that case, you guys have to trust me on that. Okay, so let's go back to the execution. Okay, so here we can see the second execution is successfully run, and this is triggered the Gmail tool. Okay. Okay, so this is cool. Now the next step is I will show you so how can we connect this MCP server to our FastAPI. Okay, for that I already have a ready-made code is available. Okay, so this code I have discussed multiple times in my previous videos. Okay, so what let me see here. So what this code does is we are actually using the multi server client MCP client, which is from the LangChain MCP adapter. Okay, so it has a provision, so we are creating this client, and here I am passing the n8n URL. So this is the URL, and this is the transport that I am going to use. Okay, so here I can copy and paste my URL here. Okay, so this is the same URL that I have copied from the n8n, the product URL. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to write, it's like this is the URL that I need to connect, and this is the transport, this is the protocol that I'm using. So I'm using a streamable HTTP is the protocol that I'm using. Okay, so here then the next line I'm going to create tools. I'm going to get the tools, right? The client.get tools will get the tools, and I am creating an agent here. Okay, so if you are comparing this with n8n, okay, let me go back here. So if you are comparing this with the MCP tutorial, okay, so let me go back here, sorry. So if you are comparing this with the chat, the MCP client in the n8n, here we can see an agent. The agent is connected to a MCP client, right? So this MCP client is a set of tools, right? So this will expose the two tools, right? The client tool, I mean the calculator tool, then the email tool will be added to this particular agent, right? Similar to that, if you come here, you guys can just compare it with n8n client. So here we are getting the tools. The tools will be added to our agent. Okay, so here we are using the create react agent function to create an agent. Okay, so once that is done, once the agent is created, okay, so once the agent is created, we will have a post method is there. Here we will be getting some input. Okay, so we will get some input, and we will trigger this input. Okay, so the agent.invoke is used to trigger the input. Okay, so the response will be sent back to the client. Okay, so this is basically happens in the FastAPI. So let me say it again. So here we have a set of import functions are there, and the main important that we are using is the LangChain MCP adapter, right? So this is the adapter that is or this is the framework that is supports. This helps us to connect to the MCP servers. Okay, this LangChain MCP adapter helps us to connect to the MCP servers. So this is the how we declare this client. Okay, MCP server client can be declared like this. So as I mentioned, I can pass a URL, and I can pass the what we call it's a protocol. Then we will get the tools. Tools will be connected to the agent. Okay, it's as simple as that. Then we have a post method is there, and we will return the response back to our UI. Okay. Now we have the app.py file is there. So this is the Streamlit server, Streamlit application. This will help us to create a client or chat interface. Okay, it is simply connecting to the FastAPI, and here you guys can see it will get the information from the user. Okay, then it will it will actually call our URL. So here we can see it is calling the fast URL. So this is calling our post method, then response will be shown to the UI. Okay, so that is all about the Streamlit URL. Then now we can run this. So let me stop this. Let's start. So here I'm starting my FastAPI URL. Now let me stop this. Okay, so here also I'm going to run this. Okay, okay, so let me copy the URL and here. Okay, so it's already open, so let me refresh it. So this is our Streamlit interface. Here I can do the chat. Okay, I can type hi. Here I'm going to ask about add 5 star 3, sorry 8 star 3. Let me see. So it says the result of 8 times 3 is 24. We can go back and check our MCP server. Let's come here, go to the execution. Here we can see it is executed. Maybe I can make it side by side. Let's make it side by side. Okay, now we can say send an email to naji.aboo@gmail.com saying that I'm going to hospital. Let's see how this works. So if you look on here, auto refresh the email, see it's automatically completed the scenario. Let's click on this. Here we can see the send message tool is also executed. Okay, so in this way we can easily able to connect or easily create a MCP server and will able to connect it to the different clients. Okay, so here we have discussed about 2 clients, right? Let me go back here. So here we have discussed about 2 clients. One is we connected the MCP server using the MCP client. Also we try to connect it using the FastAPI. So similar way we could able to connect it to maybe Cloud A, and we can use the Visual Studio Code. Any code we can easily able to connect it to the MCP server. Okay. So that is all about in this video. So please do like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye bye.